Our conversation with the folks from AAUW, brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And in the studio with us this morning, Sarah Mantel and Mary Jo Bowes. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us. American Association of University Women Indiana chapter, and a big event coming up. First of all, we need to compliment Mary Jo on her socks. They're quite spiffy this morning.
Pippi Longstocking.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to have to sort of swing that mic back and forth between the two of you. But this event is coming up very quickly this weekend, isn't it, Mary Jo?
Sunday at 3 o'clock in Gorell Hall.
And it is in celebration of
100 years of women's suffrage.
Yeah. And so what's going to be happening? Music, obviously, if it's in Gorell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a combination of music written by women and some speaking words by prominent suffragists.
Okay.
Sarah is in charge of the music, and I sort of put together the written words. I didn't write them, but I put them together.
Sarah's the big boss, as
Sarah's
you said.
the big boss.
The big boss of this big event.
Well, I would dispute that. I excuse me, but I do think that it's been a combined effort. We certainly want to mention Susan Wheatley, who's the president of AAUW, and some others of the organization who thought this up back, I'd say last spring, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we want to celebrate 100 years of women's suffrage, and to do it, we want to bring you words of very prominent suffragists and abolitionists, out of which the suffrage movement arose. We have members of the community who are AAUW members and other interested parties who are going to speak their words, sort of curated by Mary Jo. And we also have a lot of music by women composers. Oh, okay. And you may not know this, your audience, but women composers faced a lot of discrimination during the last 100 and 200 and even to today. Problems in getting their music published and getting their music heard. Yeah. Because initially, of course, they were not allowed to study in the conservatories and given any training. So, people say, where are the great women chefs? Well, you have to go back to the premise that in order to be something, you have to have the training to do it. Yeah. Where were the doctors? Where were the women doctors, women lawyers, and so forth? Same thing with music. Yeah. So unless you were a soprano or a mezzo-soprano or a blues singer, then you had some problems.
Yeah, you talk about musicians in that light. Maybe we relate to it more from authors, which is why we have an author named George Eliot, who was a woman. In order to get published, in order to get in the foot in the door,
exactly,
had to take on a whole different pseudonym.
Yeah.
And we're talking about people from precisely the same era.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned George Eliot and the Bronte sisters, who finally published under their own names. But this is the same time as Clara Schumann, who was very famous. But first of all, a lot of people just thought of her as her husband's wife. Yeah. And she sort of surpassed him.
She said with a chuckle in her voice.
I'll say she surpassed him. She had 8 children in about 10 years, and then after he died, she toured Europe because she was a piano virtuoso, making enough money to support those 8 children and 6 grandchildren. Yeah. So all of those stories, we're telling some of those stories as we before we listen to the music. We open with Clara Schumann, and then we have a couple of American composers, Amy Beach, who had to publish her music under her husband's name, or sign it as Mrs. H.H.A. Beach when she was married, because of the norms of society, would not allow her to teach or compose in public.
Yeah. So when we're thinking of words, we think of around suffrage, Susan B. Anthony, Sojourner Truth.
Sojourner Truth we feature in this concert.
Oh, we do?
And we also have Patty Holmes, who is a local blues singer.
Yeah.
She's reading Sojourners' Words, but she's also singing two fantastic blues songs by Alberta Hunter and Billie Holiday.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's not just a classical,
Right.
It's an entertainment for spanning decades.
Well, when we think of the words and some of the famous names that we're quite aware of, there are local names too that will be a part of this.
Jane Leonard is being read, and that is being read by Gretchen Barber. And I am doing Emmeline Pankhurst, who this is my favorite part. In Mary Poppins, remember the original Mary Poppins? No, you don't.
I remember the Disney version.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's the one I'm talking about. Mrs. Banks is a suffragist in England, and she sings a song that has a lyric in it that says, "Take heart, Mrs. Pankhurst has been clasped in irons again." And this refers to Emmeline Pankhurst, who was a militant suffragette, went to jail many times. So it's we're not weeping willows here.
No, absolutely not. And it sounds like it's going to be a tremendous program. And
there's a
upbeat
reception
program.
afterwards.
Okay. So tell us about that, and then tell us how we can get there. Give us the particulars.
Well, the concert, the afternoon entertainment, I should say, because words and music is open and free to the public, 3 p.m. in Gorell Recital Hall on the IUP campus. We hope to see many people there. One thing we didn't mention is that we have a number of students from the Indiana High School a cappella choir who are going to join us for the finale, which is a rendition of the March of the Women, which was composed by Ethel Smythe, who was a British composer and a friend of Emmeline Pankhurst, and who was jailed, as most of the women's suffragists were in England, and she conducted this piece during a protest march by leaning out of her jail window and waving a toothbrush in the air. Well, Dr. Julian Laird is going to conduct this for us without the toothbrush in Gorell Recital Hall, assisted by some of the performers and 8 students from the a cappella choir in the high school.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
That will be followed by a reception in the Blue Room, and people will have a chance to talk and mingle and really celebrate 100 years of suffrage for American women.
That's a wonderful. Sounds like a great program. It really does. And you're going to have fun with it. That's number one.
Absolutely.
But the reception is just a great way to cap it off.
And there'll be cookies, Todd.
And there will be cookies. Well,
Cookies.
You have brought
to
me
die
cookies
for.
in the past.
I know.
So I know you know your way around a cookie.
I do.
Yeah. So very good. So it's free. Everybody
Absolutely.
should know that. It's
Absolutely.
free.
Open and free to the public.
Yeah, it'll be a tremendous day, and you've got all kinds of. I was reading a list of the performers that you have lined up, and it's very extensive. There's going to be a lot of people there just because they have to drop off their performers. That's a great way to ensure a crowd there, but it will be a tremendous program, and we look forward to it. So, real quickly, tell me about AAUW, because every once in a while we have you folks on, but not a lot.
American Association of University Women. It is an organization that mission is to promote the betterment of women and girls. Our particular branch concentrates on equal opportunity and on scholarships for IUP students who are what considered non-traditional students. That mainly means women who have delayed going to college for various circumstances and now need our aid. And so that is one of our major events, major concerns.
Yeah. So the event coming up on
But that's free. This is
Sunday
free.
Is free. But if someone wants to give while they're there, they can
Absolutely,
certainly do that.
if you want to.
All right. So again, Sunday at 3,
Gorell Hall.
Gorell Hall at IUP. Thank you, ladies, for coming in to tell us all about it.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. 101.1